Hi there, my name is Andrea, and this is High Literature, a program where I introduce books and stories and comics and art and all that good stuff to you, the viewer. A few weeks ago, it was World Book Day, and I had this whole thing planned, and obviously it didn't happen. So happy belated World Book Day. That's allowed, right? We can do happy belated birthday, so why not happy belated World Book Day? So I was not the best student in school, and at the beginning of each year, when we would get our books and stuff assigned to us, I didn't really care one way or the other. But the literature book, I was so excited to get. It was like early Christmas, being given for free this book filled with stories and poems and plays, and I just couldn't wait to get the new literature book and see what was in store for me, because oftentimes, I don't know about you guys, but when I went to school, we did not go over the entire text. I don't know how they worked the curriculum, but the teachers would just pick and choose what they wanted to teach. And so there were times where I would be disappointed because of course I'd read ahead, and I would just really hope that, a teacher would do a particular story or a poem and they wouldn't. And so I would just have to enjoy it by myself. But suffice it to say, I really loved getting the literature books, and I was really bad, and I kept 2 of them. And I'm going to share those 2 with you today. The first one I'm going to share is the literature book from elementary school. This was published in 1981. Moonbeams. How cool is this? Houghton Mifflin Reading Program. And look at this book. How great is this? And of course I love the kitty cats that are just loving on the moon and being like, oh my god, look at that beautiful moon in the sky. Yes, it's so great. I cherish this book. This actually was not mine. This was my sister's. And I would read to her from this and do the voices, and oh my god. Some of this, so this was published in 1981, but a lot of these stories, like Clyde Monster, 1976, Keep Off, 1956, Moon Mouse, 1969. These are old. Too Much Noise, 1967. And I love these books. And so each chapter, they're called magazines. So magazine 1, magazine 2, etc. And at the beginning of each magazine, they take from the cover and they tell a little story. So there's the cats. They saw the moon and they're like, oh my god, how cool. And now they pack their little bags and then they're going on a little journey to go find the moon. And at the beginning of each magazine, the story develops of these cats going to see the moon. And it's just so great. But this is Pippa's place. And it's just about this little mouse who's just trying so desperately to find a hiding place. Why? Because it's fun. Everybody wants to have a little fort or a little tree house or a little secret room or just some little tuck away spot, a little secret garden, just some place where you can just tuck away and hide and just be alone. And Pippa just goes on this little journey where she thinks she found a hiding spot, she found a little hole, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna go down this hole. And then turns out it's already occupied, and she's just going on this. She's like, all right, you know what? She finds these 2 rocks and she turns it into a little fort. But then she gets sad because So Pippa went into her secret hiding place. She sat and waited. She waited a long, long time. No one came. No one called. Pippa, where are you? My friends can't find me, thought Pippa. So I will go and find them. So she leaves her hiding place and goes and finds her friends and invites all of her friends to her secret hiding place because joy is best experienced when shared, right? And she learns that she enjoys being with her friends better. She goes from calling it PSHP, Pippa's Secret Hiding Place, to ESHP, Everyone's Secret Hiding Place. It is for all of us, and we can have lunch here this very day. And that's how it ends. Oh my God, I love the duck, like, sipping on a straw with this little beverage there. Can you imagine a duck sipping a straw? And then they have like these little activities. I mean, you just don't see stuff like this anymore. I love it. Oh my God, this story. My sister loved this story so much because you couldn't pay me to do it, but I would read this to her. Like, I don't know why, but we were just obsessed with this story, and I would do these crazy voices for it. And she just thought it was so funny. And I would just read this constantly. I mean, it's just... And I think also this stood out to us. I mean, clearly, you know, it's not illustrated. And this is the only story in this book that's like this, where, you know, it's like photographs of people instead of illustrations. He's hanging out with his friend, and they're talking about the substitute teacher. And then, the substitute teacher made popcorn, so they're starting to like him, and maybe he's not so bad. And, you know, he ends up being a cool dude in the end. And another activity, taking a rock and like painting it to look like something else. And that's actually something that I kind of did. I didn't paint them to look like different objects, but I loved walking to the train tracks and collecting rocks, and I would find on purpose, you know, I loved, you know, cool looking rocks, but I would also try and find just plain looking rocks that I could paint on, and I would paint them with my mom's nail polish and make them look sparkly, and, you know, just all the different things that nail polish does, and just make the rocks look, you know, so cool. And like they show me how to do stuff with like different walnut shells and pine cones, and I just love it. This book is so much fun. Nate the detective, different poems, different plays, but there's one story in particular that has stuck with me my whole life, and it's something that I actually apply to my day-to-day when I'm struggling with noise. And this story is called, and this is magazine 3, and you can see, oh, the kitty cat's made it to the moon! They're enjoying, what are they? Milk and sardines, of course. How cool is that? I just love it. I love it. I love it. Never gets old. So, Too Much Noise by Anne McGovern. A long time ago, there was an old man. His name was Peter, and he lived in an old, old house. And that's Peter in his old, old house. The bed creaked. The floor squeaked. Outside, the wind went swish, swish. Inside, the kettle went hiss, hiss. Too noisy, said Peter. There's Peter. He's like, oh my God, all this noise, all this hissing, all this creaking, and Peter went to see the wise man. What can I do? Peter asked the wise man. My house makes too much noise. My bed creaks, my floor squeaks, the wind goes swish, swish, the kettle goes hiss, hiss. I can help you, the wise man said. I know what you can do. What? Said Peter. Get a cow, said the wise man. What good is a cow? Said Peter, but Peter got a cow anyhow. So he goes to see the wise man. The wise man's listening. He's like, get a cow. The cow said, moo, moo. The bed creaked, the floor squeaked, outside the wind went swish, swish, inside the kettle went hiss, hiss. Too noisy, said Peter, and he went back to the wise man. Get a donkey, said the wise man. What good is a donkey, said Peter, but Peter got a donkey anyhow. The donkey said, hee-haw. The cow said, moo, moo. The bed creaked, the floor squeaked, outside the wind went swish, swish, inside the kettle went hiss, hiss. Still too noisy, said Peter, and he went back to the wise man. Get a sheep, said the wise man. What good is a sheep, said Peter, but Peter got a sheep anyhow. The sheep said, ba, ba. The donkey said, hee-haw. The cow said, moo, moo. The bed creaked, the floor squeaked, outside the wind went swish, swish, inside the kettle went hiss, hiss. Here's the moo, moo cow, just hanging out, mooing his little heart out. Got a whole menagerie going on in here. Too noisy, said Peter, and he went back to the wise man. Get a hen, said the wise man. What good is a hen, said Peter, but Peter got a hen anyhow. The hen went cluck, cluck. The sheep went ba, ba. The donkey said hee-haw. The cow said moo, moo. The bed creaked, the floor squeaked. Outside the wind went swish, swish. Inside the kettle went hiss, hiss. Too noisy, said Peter, and he went back to the wise man. Oh, my goodness. Can you guess what's going to happen? Get a dog, the wise man said, and get a cat too. What good is a dog, said Peter, or a cat? But Peter got a dog and a cat anyhow. The dog said woof, woof. The cat said meow, meow. The hen said cluck, cluck. The sheep said ba, ba. The donkey said hee-haw. The cow said moo, moo. The bed creaked, the floor squeaked. Outside the wind went swish, swish. Inside the kettle went hiss, hiss. Peter's about to have a nervous breakdown. This is just too much noise, said Peter, so we went back to the wise man. I told you my house was too noisy, he said. I told you my bed creaks, my floor squeaks, the wind goes swish, swish, the kettle goes hiss, hiss. You told me to get a cow. All day the cow goes moo, moo. You told me to get a donkey. All day the donkey goes hee-haw. You told me to get a sheep. All day the sheep goes ba, ba. You told me to get a hen. All day the hen goes cluck, cluck. You told me to get a dog and a cat. All day the dog goes woof, woof. All day the cat goes meow, meow. I am going crazy, said Peter. Oh my God. The wise man said, do what I tell you. Let the cow go. Let the donkey go. Let the sheep go. Let the hen go. Let the dog go. Let the cat go. So Peter let everyone go. No, now no cow said moo, moo. No donkey said hee-haw. No sheep said ba, ba. No hen said cluck, cluck. No dog said woof, woof. No cat said meow, meow. Bye-bye. The bed creaked. What a quiet noise, said Peter. The floor squeaked. What a quiet noise, said Peter. Outside the wind went swish, swish. Inside the kettle went hiss, hiss. How quiet my house is, said Peter. And Peter got into his bed and went to sleep and dreamed a very quiet dream. The end. That story just always stuck with me. This is such a great book. Moon Mouse. And as it progresses, as you can see, like the stories get a little more complex. The illustrations get a little more in depth. I just love it. It's like Redwall. This whole thing is about like this mouse. He sees the moon and he's like, I gotta see this moon. And he goes on this incredible journey to find the moon. And then he does. Kind of. Oh. And I always thought it was clever that that was the story it ends on. Because, you know, the moon correlation. And then there's one final poem, In the Dark of Night, by Eileen Fisher. A mouse goes out in the dark of night without a lantern or other light. She's not afraid of the dark at all, though the night's so big and herself so small. I just love that. Simple and sweet. But yes, that's this book. Now, the other book. This is from 1996. Literature and the Language Arts. I love this book. This book kicks so much ass. There's so much great stuff in here. I was looking through this the other day and my jaw dropped. A Christmas Memory by Truman Capote is in this book. I couldn't believe it. We've got Ursula K. Le Guin, Gabriel Garcia Marquez. There's so much in this book. Arthur C. Clarke, Ray Bradbury, Jack London. Ugh. And I love all the art that's in here. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but the art that would be included, it was like for this story, the Gabriel Garcia Marquez, The Handsomest Drowned Man in the World is the name of the story. And the art is, let's see, After the Tornado, Texas, Winslow Homer. He was born in 1836 and died in 1910. This is a watercolor piece that he did. And they always, you know, put a piece that kind of correlated to the story. I've never read this story. And everybody has the things that they nerd out about, so just whatever. But I loved, you know, the questions and stuff at the end. So it was like the selection review, and they have all these different questions, and it was just so fun for me. I loved responding and writing. Write a myth that explains the existence of a particular manufactured object in the world, such as an automobile, a skateboard, or a billboard. Pre-writing suggestion. To get started, write the name of the object at the top of a piece of paper. Then down the left-hand side of the paper, write the words who, what, where, when, why, and how. For each of the words, brainstorm a few questions you'd like to answer in your myth, such as who found the object? What does the object look like? Where was the object first seen? I love it. This book is so much fun. I recommend digging through your brain and remembering what were your favorite literature books, and go on eBay and get them. They just have so much good stuff in them. Unit 7, Identity. Then there's a Henry David Thoreau quote. If a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps it is because he hears a different drummer. And then they have this accompanying art piece from 1936, Alan Rohan Crite, School's Out. Pretty cool. Identity. What could this be about? Pre-reading short story, Geraldine Moore the Poet by Toni Cade Bambara. Toni Cade Bambara was born in 1939, died in 1995. She grew up in Harlem and Brooklyn, New York, and Jersey City, New Jersey. After studying theater and English at Queens College and the City College of New York, she worked as a film writer and producer. She also taught college English. During the 60s and 70s, she was active in the civil rights movement. She has published 2 collections of stories, Gorilla, My Love, and The Seabirds. Gorilla, My Love, and The Seabirds Are Still Alive. She has also written a novel, The Salt Eaters, as well as scripts for television and film. Background. Theme about the selection. People are very complex. Everyone has both strengths and weaknesses. Sometimes a person's strengths go unrecognized even by that person for a long, long time. What are your strengths? What special abilities do you have? What undiscovered talents might you have that you haven't explored? Think about these questions as you read Geraldine Moore, the poet. Geraldine paused at the corner to pull up her knee socks. The rubber bands she was using to hold them up made her legs itch. She dropped her books on the sidewalk while she gave a good scratch, but when she pulled the socks up again, 2 fingers poked right through the top of her left one. That stupid dog, she muttered to herself, grabbing her books and crossing against traffic. First he chews up my gym suit and gets me into trouble, and now my socks. Geraldine shifted her books to the other hand and kept muttering angrily to herself about Mrs. Watson's dog, which she minded 2 days a week for $1. She passed the hot dog man on the corner and waved. He shrugged as if to say business was very bad. Must be, she thought to herself. 3 guys before you had to pack up and forget it. Nobody's got hot dog money around here. Geraldine turned down the street, wondering how her sister Anita would have for her lunch. She was glad she didn't have to eat the free lunches in high school anymore. She was sick of the funny-looking tomato soup and the dried-out cheese sandwiches and those oranges that were more green than orange. This piece of art is so cool. It's entitled Endangered Species. It's by Paul T. Goodnight. It's from 1980. How cool does that look? I love this book. I love this book. I love this book. So those are those. And then I thought another fun thing to share for World Book Day would be a dictionary. But it's not just any dictionary. It is Ambrose Bierce's The Devil's Dictionary, illustrated by the great Ralph Steadman. Ambrose Bierce, strange, unusual man who disappeared. Nobody knows what happened to him. Ambrose Bierce was a veteran of the American Civil War who fought at Shiloh and Chickamauga in the Union ranks. After the war, he became one of America's best-known writers and journalists. In 1913, he set off for Mexico, then in the throes of revolution, and was never seen again. This book, The Devil's Dictionary, is a lot of fun. The Devil's Dictionary is an American classic. Its author, Ambrose Bierce, was the scourge of political corruption and all forms of hypocrisy, the friend and rival of Mark Twain, and the popular author of insolent, entertaining, and occasionally courageous columns. He also had a deliciously wicked edge to his tongue, honed by a lifetime's exposure to the worst that men and women could do. Who better, then, than Ralph Steadman, the leading satirical cartoonist of his generation, to bring his own sharp eye and incisive pen to bear on the wit of the Yankee Oscar Wilde. Oh my gosh. My foot fell asleep. Ambrose Bierce despised realism. In his Devil's Dictionary, he defines it as the art of depicting nature as it is seen by toads, or a story written by a measuring worm. And this is a portrait that Ralph Steadman did of Ambrose Bierce. Abnormal. Not conforming to standard. In matters of thought and conduct, to be independent is to be abnormal. To be abnormal is to be detested. Wherefore the lexicographer adviseth a striving toward a straighter resemblance to the average man than he hath to himself. Whoso attaineth thereto shall have peace, the prospect of death, and the hope of hell. And here's Steadman's illustration of abnormal. Belladonna. In Italian, a beautiful lady. In English, a deadly poison. A striking example of the essential identity of the two tongues. Oh, Lord. Stedman's illustration of Belladonna. Cupid. The so-called god of love, this bastard creation of a barbarous fancy, was no doubt inflicted upon mythology for the sin of its deities. Of all unbeautiful and inappropriate conceptions, this is the most reasonless and offensive. The notion of symbolizing sexual love by the semi-sexless babe and comparing the pains of passion to the wounds of an arrow, of introducing this pudgy homunculus into art grossly to materialize the subtle spirit and suggestion of the work, this is eminently worthy of the age that, giving it birth, laid it on the doorstep of posterity. Rage against the coming of the light. And it just goes on like this. This book is so much fun. And then also, I thought it would be fun to share for World Book Day the books that I got into the most when I was a kid. I was a huge fan of The Babysitter's Club. This is number 1. Christie's great idea, and this is when, obviously she comes up with the idea of the Babysitter's Club. I was just obsessed with these books, and I have a whole Tupperware container filled with them that a girlfriend of mine, we want to go through them, because she has a bunch too, and we want to do swappies and share, and I'm really excited about that. And then The Clue of the Broken Locket. It's my favorite Nancy Drew book. I really got into Nancy Drew. I somehow got a copy of this book where the heroine, her name was Cassandra Best, and it was also like a mystery series. And it's the only book of the Cassandra Best stories that I've ever read. And I went to my school library. I was in like the 3rd or 4th grade at the time, and I was like, I want more Cassandra Best mystery stories. And they're like, we don't know what that is, but maybe you'll like Nancy Drew. And I did. And I just became obsessed. And then I started reading The Babysitter's Club. I was given, it was like a set of 4, the first 4 books in like this box set that I got for Christmas. And when the Asian character in that book was also a big fan of Nancy Drew, it just kind of sealed the deal for me. Like, okay, yes, I'm a Nancy Drew fan for life. But yeah, these stories are so much fun. And I got this other book. I haven't read it yet. Can I pick it out quickly? I don't see it. But it's about like the history of Nancy Drew, I think. It's a strange book, and I'm not quite sure what it's about, and I got it more out of curiosity than anything. Maybe it is over there. Let's see here. I thought you were over here. Ah, here it is. It's called Nancy Drew and Company, Culture, Gender, and Girls' Series. The 1990s are exciting years for scholars interested in Girls' Series books. An ever-increasing number of scholars, many of them influenced by feminism, are studying these texts, which have existed throughout the 20th century and been phenomenally successful. More critics are turning to these books in order to understand their enduring role in culture and how they shape the values of young women. This anthology adds to the ongoing dialogue on this subject, helping to broaden our insight into the way these books have affected girls' lives throughout this century. This collection is the first anthology to bring together a broad range of critical essays on Girls' Series fiction from established scholars such as Chamberlain, Johnson, and Romanov, along with newly emerging scholars in the field, such as Katrina Poe, Maureen Reed, and Deborah Siegel. Also noteworthy is the collection's focus on critical essays about Girls' series, which sets Nancy Drew and Company apart from other books that include more personal reflections rather than critical commentary. Yeah, really curious about this book. It is from the Newton Public Library in Newton, Kansas. Never been. It's from 1997. Ooh, the first chapter is The Whole of the Moon, Ellen Montgomery's Anne of Green Gables series. Whew, can't wait. And last but not least, I want to share this with you. I don't know why. Well, it was tucked in one of the books, and it's just so funny. I have to share this. So I found this in a book. No. It was in a purse. I found this in a purse that I bought at a Goodwill, and this was stuck in there. And it's this little party list, and it kills me. Invite Haley, Andy, Justo, Elliot, with a question mark, and then an X, so I guess Elliot didn't get invited. Sarah, question mark, Tom, question mark, Noah, question mark, Skylar, and there's an arrow drawn from Skylar to Noah, and then a little note that says, Skylar gets mad. Haley and Hunter and Tom, and then a little arrow that says info for sleepover, question mark, no sleepover, question mark, yes, question mark, I don't know, question mark. Saturday at my house, and then there's the address that I'm not going to read. Time, 5 o'clock. Skylar might get upset, but I don't give a fuck. Should I even have a party? People get mad easily, ... sad face. I'm like, I just feel the anxiety coming on this. Food, cake, pizza, chips, fruit, cheese, veggies. Drinks, root beer, Sprite, Dr. Pepper, and Pepsi. Room, living room, food and dining room. Games, Jackbox, CAH, board games. Need, cups, plates, fuck yeah, balloons. I mean, I'm going to cover the address. Don't look at the address. You don't need to know where these people live. How fun is that? So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I just cherish this little thing so much. Should I even have a party? People get mad so easily. Oh, I hope you had a great party, whoever you are, and I hope that Skylar didn't get mad. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this here. Thank you so much for hanging out. Sorry that it was a belated World Book Day, but hey, better late than never, right? All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.